Welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch, episode 319.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy ketos.
Welcome back to the channel. Another glorious day after Easter Monday.
It was a beautiful Easter weekend. We had some lovely weather that I was thankful for. I think about, we were doing a big Easter egg hunt. And it's one of those things, you put so much preparation into it and you kind of have a backup plan for something like that that's primarily, outdoors, but not really. You have a backup plan, but you're really just hoping that you don't have to utilize the backup plan.
Yeah.
So I was thankful that we had a nice sunny day. We had tons of kiddos. It was awesome.
It was a great day. So welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch. If you're new here, Keto Beyond the Couch, we do this every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We do it live as much as possible. Just so you guys know, next Monday will not be live because I will be in Texas.
Yes.
So we'll be pre-recording it.
We'll be apart.
But Rachel will be live in the chat. We'll go ahead and
Yes.
premiere it. But if you're new here, we do this every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and it's really a chance for us to celebrate our subscribers' wins and also answer questions and comments that we found on our social media chat networks, like our Facebook group, as well as our Mighty Networks
So
group.
leave those comments.
If you're not a member of our Mighty Networks group, go join it. It's completely free, members.twocrazyketos.com. If you want to choose us financially, to support us financially, you can do so with joining one of the paid groups. And paid groups just get a little bit of extra, like Wednesday live streams with Rachel.
Yes, now tomorrow, or Wednesday's live stream will be at 7 p.m. Eastern this week because I am going to be overseeing my mom's furniture move to Arcadia. And so I have to be there for the movers, and we're not exactly sure when they're going to be there. So that pretty much means that as soon as I start the live stream, they're going to arrive.
Right.
Pretty secure in that.
Let's jump right into Keto Beyond the Couch. By the way, before I even do that, I should say, if you are new here, the way we do this when we're live is we don't really look at the chat too much. Sometimes I'll glance over. So if you have a question or something we're talking about, either A, hold off to the last 10 or 15 minutes of the stream, or use the super chat function, because when you do that, it benefits the channel, but more importantly, it's going to highlight our screen and we can answer it right then and there so that I don't miss it.
We don't want to miss it.
First thing we have is from Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
Kathy said the barrier standing between you and what you are truly capable of is not a lack of information, ideas, or techniques. The secret sauce is execution.
Oh my goodness. That is so true. You have totally called us all out, because how many times over the years did we research when we had enough knowledge, we just needed to employ it, right? We are never going to be perfect. We are not going to perfectly understand everything. But as it's been pointed out in several talks, over the years, you don't know everything maybe that goes into driving a car, flying a plane. You can't be completely sure of everything that you're going to have to deal with getting married or having a baby. And yet you just do that thing. Right? We just are saying, hey, we'll figure it out.
Well,
right? As
we
go
were even
along.
talking about, so our gray blue slate turkey right now is sitting on 28 eggs.
Yes.
It's kind of amazing. I've been doing research on, because she'll get up and walk around for a little while. And I'm like, does that affect the incubation? And I was researching about it, and they were talking about not only will she get up and walk around, allow them to cool down, that she will, when they begin to pip, break through the egg, she will get up and get off so that they can get out. And you start thinking it's just nature, right? She just knows to do this. Nobody's taught her how to do it.
She's figuring it out.
She just does it. And it's the same thing here. A lot of the stuff we already know. We just have to do it. It makes sense. If your blood glucose is high, don't eat sugar or things that cause your blood glucose to go up. But we have to execute
You have to actually do it consistently. And I know that that's hard. That is the hard of it. Here's the good news though. Figuring out what to do is not hard. Right? Eating meat, that concept, I can do that. I can do that in many different forms. I can eat eggs, I can eat hot dogs, I can eat hamburger patties. That is not a hard thing to understand The doing it
Right.
is the hard thing.
I
That is
was
hard.
talking to somebody at church yesterday, and she was like, I dabble here and there in keto, trying to get my husband to do it. I'm like, I look at her and she's like, just tell him he can eat all the bacon he wants.
Right. Yeah.
That usually works.
Yes, that
you
really
can eat all the
helps.
bacon you want. You can't have a Snickers bar,
But
but
you
you
can
can
have
eat
bacon.
a pound of bacon.
Right.
I literally ate, here's what's left of it. I ate like a half a pound of bacon already this morning. I mean, and life is glorious when you can just eat a pound of bacon for breakfast. Next one we have is from Debbie.
Hey, Debbie.
Debbie put saving $8 a day is equal to $2,920 per year. Reading 20 pages per day is 30 books per year. Walking 10,000 steps per day is 70 marathons a year. Never underestimate the power of small steps.
That is so awesome, Debbie, because here it is. We're talking about like it's hard to follow through, but we are not doing the totality of our keto journey in a single day, right? We are going to do what is possible within this 24 hours. Within this 24 hours, I am going to have interactions with food. I can make it keto, right? I want to move my body. I can choose to exercise. A lot of times when people say, hey, when you want to start strength training, what do you recommend? 10 minutes. Right. I recommend 10 minutes a day of strength training to get started. Why? Because it adds up.
Right.
It's about being consistent, and consistency is by taking things at little bite sizes.
Right.
Right? We're not trying to be Lou Ferrigno by tomorrow morning.
Next one we have is from Elle.
Hey, Elle.
Please remember this as you navigate your health journey. Toxic relationships are not helpful to anyone.
That is a tough one, especially when the toxic relationship may be somebody like very close to you, somebody that you see every day or somebody that you talk to often. Could be a family member that is like the toxic relationship. And you're right, like you may have to put a fence around the access to all of the departments of your mind.
Yeah.
Right? You can be in a conversation with somebody, or you can be in a relationship where like, okay, the toxic relationship is my mother, or the toxic relationship is an aunt that I'm very close to, and I don't want to cut this person out of my life altogether. But it is okay if they do not have 100% access to you.
Yeah, and here's what I say to people, and when I coach people, and even people that like I've talked to in church, or when it comes to toxic relationships, you have like this look at your relationships like a bullseye. The people in the closest part, you're in the middle, the people closest to you should have the most in common with you. Whether it be your faith, your values, your health, your way of eating. As they go away from your beliefs and the way you want to live, they move further out in the ring, which means they get less access to you. If the toxic relationship is just some coworker, distance yourself from the person.
Yeah.
If it is a family member, don't distance yourself from your family members unless it's just so toxic, like it's going to be bad for you, right? But if your toxic relationship with, say, a family member is just over your food, find other things to talk about. There are a lot of people in my life that I don't agree with everything they do. And I'm sure that they don't agree with everything that I do. But we find other things that we can talk about and have in common, that we can enjoy, doing together. Everybody in your life doesn't need to have access or input on your health journey or a lot of other things in your life. I look at, what is the most important to you? The most important thing is your health. And you are the person who is in charge of your health, not your mother, not your brother, not your sister, not your best friend. They don't have to live your life if you have health issues. You do. So find other things to talk to them about. It's like politics and religion is another one, right?
Oh, yeah.
If we cannot talk about politics and religions in a social setting, can't we do the same thing with our health journey?
Oh, absolutely. If that's a problematic topic. I want to say though, I also want to say thank you to all of the people who maintained a relationship with me when I was not keto. When I was not keto, we've talked about this. I had an extensive mental health journey, right? I suffered from anxiety, depression, bipolar symptoms, issues. So I'm sure that when I was unwell, there were people that were struggling in my life to still invite me to the party.
Yeah.
Right? Still struggling to say, like, man, should I call her? Yeah, every single time I call Rachel, the news is never good. She's always like frustrating. I was sick. I was unwell. And I didn't know to do better. Now that I know better, I do better. And I believe that I can be a better presence in somebody's life. But I want to say thank you for all those people that didn't give up when I wasn't well. So there may be somebody in your life where you're like, man, you know, they're sick. Maybe they're not like practicing proper nutrition, and you're suffering the consequences of some of that. Like, I think sometimes we shouldn't be surprised when sick people act sick.
Yeah. I was just going to say, to finish it off, is that, remember, a lot of times the people in our lives that are opposed to our way of eating, they're opposed to our way of eating because they don't want to face that they're eating an improper way.
Sure.
And if we are right,
yeah,
right, it's like the bottom line, if we're right, they have to be wrong.
Yes.
And they don't want to be wrong because they don't want to give up their Oreos and their Snickers and their potato chips and their Big Mac sandwiches and stuff. So if they all of a sudden see our health improving, and there's somewhere in the back part of their mind, they're going, oh crap, that actually works. But I don't want to do that. So how do I get out of this? Oh, I just bash what they're doing.
Right.
So next one we have is from Liz.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, guys. I just started a GLP-1 and it's amazing at decreasing my appetite. So I'm combining keto and carnivore and trizipatide, and it's working very well. I think the best thing to learn, keto carnivore before taking a GLP-1.
I love it.
You two are the best at getting people on the right track. Too many people don't know about Keto Chow and other products that make the diet easier. Keep up the great work and progress on the farm. Thanks,
Liz.
So two things. One, let's not call keto or carnivore a diet. Let's call it a lifestyle, because a diet indicates we have an end. Okay? When people go on a diet, you associate, I'm on a diet. That means that there's an end time. There should not be an end time for your keto carnivore lifestyle. This is, as Dr. Berry talks about, the proper human diet. This is what we are supposed to eat.
Yeah.
And so there should not be an end point for it. Now, as far as the GLP-1, I completely agree. Like, here's the thing. I think GLP-1s are miracle drugs when used appropriately and with the supervision of a physician. The biggest thing that could happen on them is you can lose muscle mass. And what's the best thing you can do to help with that? Eating a good high protein diet. Like, nutrition. I have a problem with people who want to take GLP-1s yet continue to eat Oreos and Ho-Hos.
Yeah.
Like, hey, that is no different than, you know, people who would take diabetes medication. Like, let me eat a whole pack of Starburst and then pop a pill to lower my glucose.
Right.
So eating a horrible standard American diet with potato chips and all of the junk, and then trying to take a GLP-1 to control your glucose and work on your hormones, that's not a good idea. I think what you need to do is eat a proper human diet, and then if you need that GLP-1 to help you along to regulate things in your body, that is a great way to go. So you are absolutely on target, and I think merging the two could be really beneficial for people.
Sure.
Now, I know I did see somebody comment, like, how do I get one? I would talk to your doctor. There are companies online. Just be aware that there's a lot of laws that are changing now because there's no longer a shortage on medications. So I know that it's still, a lot of stuff is still up in the air, but a lot of it is, I believe it's April 22nd, which I think is tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Like, they're not allowed to do the same compounding that they were doing before. They have to do different things.
So it just makes, it's not something that anybody, if you're interested in utilizing that, you need to live in fear. Mm-mm. We can go to our doctors. Yeah. That was the whole intention.
There'll be other things that they can do.
Absolutely. So, and if you start out with a doctor, then you're not shifting. Yeah. At all, right? But I love what you're saying. Thank you for first of all, like, seeing that we love everybody and support everybody's keto journey, no matter like what they're doing in that keto journey. But I really appreciate you talking about maintaining a keto and carnivore lifestyle, I wish that everybody would come to keto and carnivore first and then try the GLP-1s.
Yeah.
I really want to commend you for sticking with that, because as you're saying, hey, this is suppressing my appetite. Everybody loves that, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I don't want to have to eat. I want to think about food. Trust me, we understand the frustration
I'm thinking about bacon.
of feeling like you are like a slave to your cravings, or a slave to just food in general. Like the refrigerator is calling out to you, and like, I wish I didn't have to think about those things, right? I understand it. So when you see something that can work as an appetite suppressant, of course, that is super, super appetizing, right? Like, you want to say like, hey, I wish that I could just do something and just not care about food as much as I do. So when you have something that you can be confident that's going to suppress your appetite, now you really do have a new divergent path, which is, do I even have to bother with keto? As we started out, today's Keto Beyond the Couch, it's hard to stick to mostly meat. It's hard to do that. So there's a lot of people that when they come to that fork in the road is like, well, screw keto. I have an appetite suppressant.
Right.
So now I don't need to stay keto. So I really want to commend you for sticking to all of the knowledge that you gained of what eating keto, a proper human diet, does for your body, and then sticking with it as you add this other tool to your toolbox.
Yeah. I just noticed this, so I wanted to bring it up because it's been on my heart all week. From Stacy, Easy Peasy Keto, said non-scale victory. Ken is starting his full diet today. Double protein, no sugar, low carb on his information. Neurologists and other doctors are happy with half of him gone since last back surgeries. Keto win.
Wow,
and
that's
so we
awesome.
are praying for Ken as he's recovering and stuff like that.
Yes.
And it's nice to see doctors and hospitals being like, okay, we're going to let you eat your lifestyle.
Yeah, because, and that's, again, like Debbie was saying, with like the consistency adds up. The consistency of what Ken has done has translated to the doctors not being able to look past the point that he's half the size that he was in previous back surgeries. So when you look at that medical file, you look at that patient, you see, hey, this patient is fighting for their life and well-being. I am not alone in this as a doctor. And how encouraging must that be to doctors who, I'm sure a lot of times, are trying to treat patients who aren't doing their share of the weight. They're not pulling their load and trying to like fight for their life as well and their well-being. And Ken has been fighting for his life. He's been fighting for his wellness. And that has got to be a blessing to the doctors. It's like, man, I'm coming to work today and I want to save every single person, but this person is partnering with me in a way that other patients may not.
So I did see this from Jen. She said, "This is a vulnerable comment, but I'm also on a GLP-1 since April last year. Started with my doctor, who suggested along with low carb, it has helped me mentally more than anything. So many benefits." Yeah, for some reason, I've got a reputation of being anti-GLP-1. I am not anti-GLP-1. I am on record saying multiple times I think it is a miracle drug when used as intended. My problem was all of these little pop-up companies, there are some really good ones and there are some not so good ones.
Yeah.
And so you have these pop-up companies that are basically writing a prescription and sending people compounded medications, and they're not even checking in on their patients. Like, here's 6 months of it. And then there's other ones that are like, we're gonna go month by month and you must check in and you must get labs and or going through your doctor. And I have talked to medical doctors who I'm not going to name here because I don't want to hurt them, but I've talked to medical doctors within the space who also has the same concerns with me with if they're skating around certain rules when they do things and they're supposed to be at least seen via video conference. And when you have something like that, I think it's good but just blindly taking stuff with nobody supervising, that's where my concern is. But I do think it is a miracle drug, especially as more and more things have come out, but when combined with a proper human diet, not let's just make this another metformin and we take this drug to counteract all of our bad eating habits.
Exactly.
Next one is from Mel.
Hey, Mel.
For those of you who get asthma-like symptoms, wheezing, extra phlegm from some dairy but not all, which types of dairy are your triggers? I'm trying to work out what dairy, if any, is least likely to cause me problems. So I fall in this boat, which is why I put this in here.
Falling off of the boat.
I love cheese. Don't really want to give up cheese.
Spoiler alert.
I'm willing to deal with the phlegm to eat my cheese.
There you go.
I mean, again, addict, right? I will occasionally go through bouts of not eating cheese, but I love my cheese. And I don't think, other than giving me a little bit of phlegm once in a while, I have perfect health numbers in every other aspect, so I'm willing to deal with it. Now, if I found out the cheese was elevating my glucose and going to cause me to be a diabetic or something else, that'd be a different story.
It's just going to make you phlegmy.
But my personal experience, and yours may vary, is soft cheeses tend to cause it more, which really stinks. It's not the word I want to use, but
thanks for using it though.
It really stinks because soft cheeses like cream cheese and ricotta and things like that are my favorite cheeses, but soft cheeses tend to cause it more. Also, just in general, harder cheeses, harder aged cheeses are generally better for you. So things like Swiss,
Were you looking at me?
Parmesan, Romano, those kind of cheeses are really good, but the softer cheeses tend to not be as good for you, and those are the ones that tend to cause the phlegmy issues. Like
and they're everywhere.
If I eat a whole bunch of jalapeno poppers, where if I'm making jalapeno poppers, I'm promising you I'm eating at least 6 to 8 in a sitting, and every one of them has at least an ounce, maybe a half ounce, or
right.
But by the time I'm done, I've eaten almost a brick of cream cheese. Let's
Sure.
put it that way. And so that will give me a little bit of phlegm. Next one we have is from Andy.
Hey, Andy.
Would you mind letting me know when you eat, your times of day, and why you do it that way? What is your personal reasoning? I'm trying to develop more consistency in eating. I've gotten to the point lately of some unhealthy overeating and occasional binge eating related to multiple life stressors. So far, at least my food is still low carb. Intuitive eating is not working right now. I think you're onto something. If you're having a problem where you're just stress eating, I think you need to put a hedge around it, put a fence around it. We always talk to our kids as they were growing up, putting hedges and fences around different things, whether it be relationships or jobs or anything else. And if you're realizing, like, I'm off the rails here, let's put a fence around it. And the best way to put a fence around it is to restrict yourself to eating certain times.
Yeah. And I find that the most successful, over a group of people, most people find it to be most successful to eat when the sun is up and not eat when the sun is down. Like that when you're eating late at night. And sometimes, we drift into that, like some things are unavoidable, but for the most part, if you're trying to make a rule for yourself to see if something will help, not eating once the sun goes down is going to be your best shot.
And you're at a perfect time for that right
Yeah.
now because sun goes down so late at this time
Right.
of the year, right? The other thing that I would say is that there's a lot of people in the camp of skipping breakfast. I'm more in the camp of, especially if you need energy throughout the day.
Yeah. Skip
doing
dinner.
breakfast and lunch and not eating dinner.
Yeah.
Or doing breakfast and dinner and having that, so maybe eat breakfast, and it doesn't even have to be a big breakfast, but eating something in the morning and then going 6-7 hours, eat dinner, and then, if you eat dinner, say 6 o'clock or something like that. So eat breakfast maybe 6, 7, 8 in the morning, eat dinner 4 to 6 at night, and then you go the whole night again. You're getting almost 12 hours in between each meal. I find that a lot of people have a lot of success with that.
Yeah.
Next one we have is from Aaron.
Hey, Aaron.
This week has been interesting. I've been eating only meat, eggs, cheese, and coffee with heavy whipping cream and some spices and seasoning. This is week 2. Last week I was never hungry. Could go long periods with fasting. This week I feel like I'm hungry all the time. I feel like I feel full when I eat, but I'm hungry again within hours. Is this common? I think we talked
about this one last week.
And we basically talked about increasing the fat.
Yeah.
Next one we have is from Carrie.
Hey, Carrie.
So Carrie put this up. in the last 9 years, total beef imports, so coming from other countries, increased by 44%, and beef prices increased 40%. Meanwhile, the latest U.S. Census shows the United States lost another 107,000 beef cattle producers. He said, this is devastating news and will explain the insane price increases on beef that I've seen in the time. It is scary.
It is.
And there are several reasons for this. Not to get too political, but I'm going to. We live in a country where a lot of people are on this anti-beef and anti-meat campaign. Some of it's coming from drug companies, I believe anyway, and pharmaceutical companies and big food, you know, in this whole thing, red meat causes cancer and all these other things. And then we have the vegan issue. We have some very high profile anti-beef people in the country who have a lot of money. You can figure out who this is, who are going around and buying up all of the grazing land out in the West, in the Midwest, and in Texas and stuff, and then charging insane leasing fees to the ranchers. And then you see the grazing fields going down. I mean, say what you want about Yellowstone, but there's some truth to that, right? They want to just buy up all this land and develop it, and the more land we buy up, the less grazing you have. And then add in the fact that less and less young people are getting into farming.
Yeah.
I mean, statistically, young people are not getting into farming. And one of the biggest reasons is there's no money in farming, right? We've got a society that pushes you to become rich, and there's no money in cattle ranching. If you're going to be a cattle rancher, you're doing it for the love of being a cattle rancher. There's no money in being a chicken farmer. We're doing it for the love of raising chickens. And, you know, I had this discussion with somebody on Facebook. A local person was charging $7 a dozen for eggs, and they were complaining about it. And I said, you know, if you do the math, 6 months for a chicken to start laying eggs, and then you've got to feed them. They have supplemental feed, and the average free-range chicken eats 1/4 to 1/2 pound of food a day. So if you figure it out in the end, about $23 for a 40-pound bag of feed, that chicken, who's only going to lay about 20, if they're a good egg producer, 20 to 25 eggs a month, a dozen eggs cost almost $3 in feed a month.
Yeah, that's just to bring it to life, right? Bring it to the marketplace.
And that's if you're not using not using an organic non-GMO feed. If you're using that, the price goes up even more.
Which is what we use.
You know, so like you do it for the love of it, and so unfortunately we're seeing that, and then we're seeing that you've got what's called greenwashing. So you get a lot of beef that comes from Brazil and Australia, and it's not local, it's being brought in. And then they sell it as grass-fed, grass-finished. But what are the laws over there?
Right. It's like when you have organic vegetables, but then you look and see what is the country of origin for the vegetables. The organic label is based on them certifying it organic, not that it's meeting American standards for organic, right? So it's that sometimes when you go to the grocery store and you're thinking, my goodness, these organic avocados are like crazy cheap comparatively, chances are they wouldn't meet the standards of organic here. So, you know, our message is always going to be start now finding local sources of food.
Even if you live in the city, if you live in New York City, there are local sources. There's farmers markets.
Start taking day trips
in New York City and take an hour drive north and easily find some local farmers and stock up, get a month's supply.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, we talked about this last year, but right now it's blueberry season here in Florida. And I saw a local farmer begging people to come pick blueberries, and he's paying $1.50 a pound if you come pick blueberries. Because by the end of the month of May, actually mid-May, right? The imported blueberries are going to come in,
and then
American season is done because the imports are cheaper than ones here in the United States. And last year, when that happened in Florida, they literally left millions of dollars of blueberries on the bushes.
Because it couldn't
Because
compete.
it was cheaper for them to just lose the crop than try to pick them.
Yeah, and it was sad because they were, they were poised to have a 19-year high of funds coming in. Like this was a bumper crop last year because of just weather cooperating properly. But
so the answer to this beef problem is please support your local farmer. Go look out and don't be afraid of local farmers who are labeling their meat for pet food.
Right.
Okay, it's an end run around rules.
Yeah.
So if you find that kind of thing, do some research, talk to people. They usually have lots of referrals, but it's a way to get around some of the heavy regulations that they're able to do that. There's other ones that will sell it through co-ops and church groups and things like that, because then it could be nonprofit. It doesn't have to go through all of the different regulations, but don't be afraid to do that. Next one we have is from Joanne.
Hi, Joanne.
Good morning. I have noticed when I eat 2 med versus 3 med, I tend to have diarrhea. Oh, I was waiting for you to say. Even if I eat the exact same food in 2 versus 3 meals, wondering why. Thank you. This leads to today's topic, which is bathroom issues on keto.
It happens.
It happens. First of all, it generally happens anytime you switch your eating lifestyle.
Yes.
That's just a fact.
Your body is like, what are we doing? I did not sign the permission slip for you to try something new. And so when I'm going to try something new, I'm going to act just like a toddler that's refusing to try to eat a new food that they've never seen before. I'm going to be afraid of new experiences first. So usually they throw up, you get a headache, you'll get diarrhea, you feel like shaky, just unwell, because your body is like, I don't know about this.
So on keto, or just in general, the best way to get diarrhea or to avoid, to get rid of constipation, how's that? Is increasing fat and increasing salt.
Yeah.
Okay, so the number one way your body gets rid of excess sodium is actually through poop. It is not through sweating. It is not through urinating. It is through poop. Water chases salt, and what happens is your body is phenomenal at regulating the amount of sodium. People are afraid of sodium in this country, and they're afraid of the wrong thing. Salt is a good thing. A lot of people, my mother being one of them, that would have high blood pressure. The high blood pressure is a result of low sodium, not high sodium. And when they start eating more salt, their blood pressure came down. My mother went through that. I've gone through that. Okay. Your body's very good at regulating sodium so long as you're drinking fluids. So what happens is if your salt goes up, your body wants to get rid of the sodium because it has X amount of sodium that it wants to have. It will get rid of it, and it just flushes it out through your poop.
Right.
That's the number one way. And then fat makes things move. So if you've got constipation, increase fat, increase salt. What's happening with you is you're eating the same food, but in 2 meals, which means you're eating that same amount of fat, but instead of spreading that amount of fat over 3 meals, you're eating it over 2 meals, and it's just running through you. Now, some of that will go away over time as your body regulates itself. But that is what it is that unless there's another medical issue, remember, we're not doctors, nurses, or health professionals, but the number one cause of this, and I can tell you, I experience this every time I go to a Brazilian steakhouse.
Because you are eating...
Because when we go to a Brazilian steakhouse, we OMAD.
Right.
And so...
You're getting a fat and salt bomb.
You're eating a whole ton of salt, a whole bunch of fat, and I cannot get out of that restaurant without first using the restroom. And Rachel is usually grateful that I use their restroom instead of going home and using ours.
I'm surprised that your picture's not on a wall of like, do not serve this man.
So what's happening is you're adding extra fat during that meal, and your body is just, it's helping things to move along.
Yeah.
So you can try cutting back a little bit of fat. You might want to do 2 meals, but then if you need that extra fat in your diet, maybe add it somewhere in the middle of the day, like add some fat to a coffee or something like that.
Shannon, thank you so much for your $4.99 super chat. I see there's a message that's been retracted, but if you do have a question for us, please let us know. We'd love to answer it for you.
Let's take a quick fade to black.
And we're back.
Okay, so the other day, by the way, I think we talked about it. I got my car back. It turned out to be a battery, and the BMS system. But I had stopped at the store, and I found this. I've never had one.
A sparkling ice Starburst? No. That's all you, babe.
0 calories.
Okay.
0 carbohydrates.
0 actual
5 calories.
ingredients.
It's like
It's an energy drink.
It's an energy drink. You're gonna try it?
No, I see green tea on there, and usually
No.
I don't do
You gotta
so.
try this. You gotta try that.
No.
It tastes just like a strawberry Starburst.
No.
Yes.
No.
Now,
Not
have
for
you
me.
ever had this? Like, we're not sponsored. I just picked it up and thought it'd be
More for
interesting.
you. Yeah. It's like a chemical bomb. Blech.
It's not as good as.
Blech.
Okay. Next one we have is from Judy.
Hey, Judy.
I just had my vision checked and was told my vision is improved. She asked me if I changed my diet or lost weight. Well, I said, sure, did. Keto for the win.
That is awesome. We've actually had a couple of subscribers reach out to us that they had to change their prescription on their glasses because they did not need the same prescription after long-term keto. Pretty awesome.
John said, my first job at 15 years old was picking blueberries, 125 crates a day at 25 cents per crate, 4 hours a day.
That's amazing.
So I guess the local farmer that's charging $1.50 is paying $1.50 is pretty good.
Well, I was going to say, but that's probably years ago.
Next one's from Cindy.
Hey, Cindy.
I'm going to have Keto Chow pancakes this morning and coffee with Keto Chow creamer. And I was wondering, can you have too much Keto Chow? When it comes to Keto Chow, don't consume more than 3 servings a day.
So 3 packages.
What I mean by
3
servings
scoops.
is a scoop out of the big bag that you should weigh, that I never weigh, or the individual packets. No more than 3 a day, because each one is 1/3 of all the vitamins, electrolytes, and nutrients you need. Now, can you have 3 and also have other food? Yes.
Sure.
But don't eat more than 3 of those in a day. Now, if you're having, it depends on how you're making your Keto Chow pancakes. Are you using an entire packet and eating them all in a serving? Then that's 1 serving. Are you using a packet and making a batch of Keto Chow pancakes and only eating half of them? Then you're definitely good. If you're using it as coffee creamer, I don't even count that. Like,
what?
If you,
Yeah,
it's like
because
if
you're
you go
using
a
1
teaspoon over, you're fine.
Sure.
Okay. But 3 don't. Again, when it comes to Keto Chow, I never advise Keto Chow being your sole source of nutrition. Eat food. Eat meat. Use Keto Chow to supplement for meals when you're on the go. I mean, gosh, we wanted to get a breakfast sandwich the other day. $5.
You're smoking crack.
And then you're throwing out the bread. That's why I say Keto Chow is not expensive.
So one thing that's nice too is if you're using Keto Chow in recipes, like you're using our pancake recipe that uses Keto Chow, or you're using our protein custard recipe. You can find all the recipes on twocrazyketos.com in the recipe section, or you can just go to do a YouTube search of 2 Crazy Ketos and Keto Chow recipes, because we have a whole bunch of recipes. It yields a lot. Like, you get a lot, especially if you've made like our protein custard. Give us a cartwheel if you have made that recipe before. You get a lot for 1 packet of Keto Chow, in my opinion.
So if somebody said,
What are you doing, weirdo?
who wrote it? Michelle said there's no caffeine in these. They're not actually energy drinks. They're like vitamin drinks.
They're like
I'm actually
belly wash, as my grandmother would call it.
I'm looking at the ingredients, and the ingredients are actually pretty good. They are actually not horrible.
Too bad they're working so hard to not taste that great.
You just don't have good taste buds. I mean, you don't like grapes, so
obviously. It's a me issue.
it is a you issue.
Obviously.
It's not a me issue. It's a you issue.
How could it be?
Cheryl said the egg pudding has 2,000 calories. What is the serving size?
Yes.
Whatever you want it to
All
be.
of it.
Okay. I just made chocolate peanut butter one last night. Oh.
I thought I saw that sitting there.
Well, somebody ate the entire batch of coconut cream. I literally got what we showed on the video.
Who did that?
I don't know, and I was too lazy to go into the RV to get the coconut cream, so I just made chocolate peanut butter. So here's what we have changed the way we do our recipes. If you look at our old recipes, you will see here's the serving size. We kind of knocked that nonsense out.
Right. Because everybody's different.
A serving size is whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, because we would put a recipe out and we would get, no kidding, we would get like 50-50 comments, this is too much for a serving, that's ridiculous. Or, are you kidding? Only this much for a serving? That's ridiculous. So it was like, there's no way to win. So it's like, just here's the whole batch, divide it as you see fit, and that's
Here's the thing.
serving size.
Serving sizes on packages are stupid. It's made up.
Right.
Okay, it's made up. Okay, we live in a country where their whole life, you know what the purpose of a serving size on a package is? To sell you something. They're trying to tell you this is healthy for you. Okay.
How many servings?
This one, 5 calories
least it's
in
one
a
can.
can. I remember Gatorade. Here's a perfect example. A bottle of Gatorade, a 32-inch bottle, that is not a serving. Now, is anybody only drinking a half? Actually, I think it's 2.5 servings per bottle, if I remember right. Nobody's drinking a third of the bottle.
What's your
You're drinking the
opposite?
bottle. So why are they putting 2.5 servings? So that they can lie to you on the label.
Right.
Okay. I love Pork and Good, okay? We have an affiliate code down below. If you like pork rinds, I think Pork and Good is one of the best pork rinds, cleanest pork rinds out there, unless you get the sugar ones.
Yeah, don't get the sweet
Don't buy
ones.
the sugar ones. I have a big beef with Pork and Good. Pork and Good, are you listening to me?
You can't have a beef with them. You can have a pork with them.
Okay. That little bag of Pork and Good, that is not 4 servings. Why are they putting 4 servings on the package? Because then they can say it's only 60 calories. That's why they're doing it. I mean, let's be honest. That's why they're doing it. Does anybody who eat pork rinds actually think, other than us who are eating a keto carnivore lifestyle, think that that's a healthy food? Is there anybody eating the standard American diet, picking up a bag of pork rinds,
pork
counting
rinds.
calories? No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the whole purpose of a serving size on a package is to tell you it's okay to eat this because a serving has this many calories. That's what those 100-calorie packs are. They didn't change the food. They just changed the amount of cookies in a serving.
But this is less bad because you're only eating this much. But like, how many times did you buy it in the single size packet
and pay 3 times the price?
But then eat the whole box. So I still had like 4 servings of those like little bite muffins. I just did it one package at a time instead of eating a bunch of, you know.
And this is not to pick on Cheryl. This
No.
is a rant of mine.
Right.
Okay. So when it comes to our recipes or any recipe, I would not take the word of any person out there making a recipe, putting a video, whether they're in keto, whether they're carnivore, whether they're making standard American diet recipes. Do not trust any of them.
Just
okay?
make the whole batch.
Don't trust us. First thing you want to do is take whatever ingredients that you are, not what they say, the ingredients that you are personally using. In our egg pudding, you can buy 3 different cans of coconut milk and have 3 different caloric nutritional rates. So you take the one that you're using, plug that into chronometer or chronometer, put in your eggs, put in everything in there, and then it's going to say for all of these ingredients are 2,000 calories. Now, divide that how you want. If you want to say a serving is a half a cup, and there's 8 cups in that package, then you have 8 servings. If you want to be like me and eat that entire thing over the course of the day, then it's 1 serving.
You know what grinds my gears? I mean, this is so silly, but when you see like a video or you see like an Instagram reel and they're showing you like some sort of a recipe, and when the person who's made the recipe is eating it, they've got this big vat of the thing and they're just really enjoying it and it's amazing, and it's just like the food is a-flowing. And then when you make the recipe and you do it based on, it's a third of a cup of their thing.
Right.
And you're like, well, this is not a flowing. Now
Right.
I've got, they're showing you, and it's like an entire like spread of this food, and it's like, wow, that looks like I would get full on it.
And can we be honest? Can we say that probably at least 75%, and I think I'm being generous there, at least 75% of people who are picking up a package that has multiple servings are not measuring or weighing out the serving?
Right.
Like at home, are you literally taking your casserole and equally dividing it and saying there's 15, cups in here, and nobody's doing that.
I
mean,
do-
75% of who is actually weighing out the potato chips when they open up a bag of potato chips?
I'm telling you when I would do it. I would do it when I would start out on it with a case of Do Better. When there's a case of Do Better and there's like, it's Monday morning, the first of the month.
And by Wednesday?
And the month is January and I am weighing things and I'm weighing the plate and I'm doing all the things. And yeah, by like Wednesday I'm going to be generous with myself. Within the next month, I think
we're lying to ourselves.
But I'm just saying, in the next month, that resolve, I start to have this conversation with myself of how long could I possibly keep this up? I start to picture myself as a 97-year-old woman weighing her slice of keto lasagna and being like, I will not be doing this thing.
Right.
I'm going to have to figure this out without tracking every single bite. Because if I need to do this for the next 53 years, I'm going to rage quit and murder my husband.
Our ancestors did not weigh everything out.
I am going to take out this frustration on Joe firmly. He's going to wake up and I'm shaved off his goatee.
Do you think the American Indians went out and killed a buffalo and then pulled out a scale and weighed?
Where is my scale? Has anybody seen my scale for this buffalo?
Now, John said in some places there are standardized portions, like 100 grams is always a serving size, no matter what it is, unlike in the United States where it's random. Exactly. In Europe, a serving size on a package is 100 grams or the whole package.
We're pretty spicy this morning.
That's really how it needs to be.
What was
and we need to change the laws in the United States. Okay, last thing I want to say about this from Joanna, because this sums it up.
Yes.
You cannot tell me that a serving size for a 230-pound man and a 110-pound woman is the same.
Hello. Thank you. Yes. You are right. You are correct.
It's just all a big lie. Net carbs is a lie, and serving sizes are a lie.
I'm starting to believe that this whole food thing is like anything sold in a package, I need to question it.
Next one is from Jay.
Hey, Jay.
I love your videos, but every time you would begin to discuss net carbs...
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Thankfully, I would think, why not just stick with higher total carbs to be on the safe side?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a trap that some keto people fall into. I would love to change my chronometer goals from net carbs to total carbs, but the directions on the web aren't helping me. We have an old video, which Chris isn't here to post it, but we do have a video on how to do chronometer, and in there I show you
how to change it.
If I can find it, we'll kind of repost it or maybe edit and make a new one. But it is very simple to tell it. You can tell it to track total carbs, not net carbs. You can also tell it to track net carbs, but not remove fiber and only take out sugar alcohols. You can tell it to not take out sugar alcohols and use fiber, which I don't suggest. I suggest if you're going to follow any kind of a net carb thing, only removing sugar alcohols and not removing fibers, because the fibers are made up things. Unless it's like fiber God made, like the fiber in asparagus or something like that. Our whole thing with net carbs is net carbs like serving sizes is a made up thing by the food industry to sell us products.
Why do we still sometimes talk about net carbs?
Because people are doing it.
Because we are a community focused channel and there are people who want to follow a net carb protocol, and we don't want them to feel like they're isolated or they've, got to sit at a different lunch table because they do things, differently than us.
And here's the big thing. To be fair to the food industry, when the net carb thing started, which was actually started like with Atkins,
there wasn't a lot of
There wasn't
products.
what you have now.
There was like Atkins products.
It was really, for the most part, you were removing sugar alcohols.
Right.
And you were removing like the fiber in almond flour.
Yeah.
There was not like a whole bunch of products with soluble corn fiber, isomalto oligosaccharides, tapioca fiber.
It was a very small equation.
When we started keto,
now it's like
a lot of people did net carbs.
Right.
Like, I can remember when we started keto, and Dr. Berry would even say 20 total, 20 total or 50 total. And then if you want to do net carbs, same thing, like only what God made, you're fine to take out the fiber from asparagus and broccoli and stuff like that, because that's really what it was. But what's happened is Big Food has gotten a hold of the keto to sell us stuff, and they're like, well, crap. I can't make any money when all they're doing is eating eggs, bacon, broccoli, and beef.
This bald guy and this crazy looking woman just tell everybody to just eat meat and eggs, and how am I going to make money off of that?
And so now what they're doing is they're taking bread, they're still putting wheat in it, and then they're pumping a bunch of fiber in it and telling you can deduct the fiber.
But this is different.
Right.
This right here is different.
And so that's the real problem.
Because I said so. And on my resume, my mother has certified that I'm a very handsome person.
Yeah.
And so you should listen to me.
Right.
It was so funny because, one of our children was filling out like a resume, and they were saying, what should, some extra things that I should list. And I said, well, you should say that mommy says that I'm a very handsome boy. And he's like, yeah, I'm absolutely going to list that as part of my, that's
so
one on the resume.
Handsome
boy.
When it comes to net carbs, if you want to follow net carbs,
keep it to vegetables.
Keep it to
and
vegetables
fruit.
And whole food.
Things that can't be manipulated by anybody.
If you want to subtract sugar alcohols, have at it, although I don't recommend it. My suggestion is if you want to have keto treats or something, and listen, I'm one of those people, okay? You're better off upping your total carbs for a day or so.
Sure.
Like we would do one day a week is dessert day, and that day we would up it. But I still can only eat keto foods or keto friendly foods because there's no such thing as a keto food, keto friendly foods. But on that day or whatever, I'm going to eat 40 total carbs. That will allow you to have the sugar alcohols or anything else. The problem with net carbs is I'm a master manipulator. Ask Rachel.
He is.
I can easily turn 300 total carbs into 0 net carbs. I can. That is not good for anybody. So the problem is you don't have a shutoff valve for pretty much anything that you would be taking out in a net carb protocol.
Right.
Okay. You don't have a shutoff valve for soluble corn fiber, for allulose, or any of that. So you're just going to eat and eat and eat. And so now you have a product that's like, say, 2 net carbs, but 25 total carbs. And if you're following a net carb protocol, you're going to be like, I can eat 5 of those because it's only 2 net carbs and I'm allowed 20 per day. So whereas if you go, I'm only allowed to have 50 total carbs and that product has 25 total carbs, I can only have 1.
Right.
Because all my other carbs are going to my eggs and cheese and all the other stuff you're going to eat. So next one is from, I can't read it.
Oh,
Dory.
Dairy.
Something.
Sorry about that. That's like super tiny.
It said beef, butter, bacon, and eggs saved my life, literally. Do the exact opposite of what your doctor and medical establishments tell you. If you don't understand that statement, you're not paying attention.
It's crazy to think that. And I understand, again, like we started today's live stream, this is hard. It is hard. My mom says that when people ask her, tell me about the way you eat. And she's like, the food is easy, the eating it is hard for the rest of your life consistently, can be challenging. And one of the biggest challenges is that you literally have to take a bite with overthink going on inside of your mind from decades of propaganda. Of this is the way that you're supposed to eat. And also this is the way you're supposed to pursue weight loss. This is the way that you're supposed to pursue health gain. My mom would always say, whatever is troublesome for you, add 27 years of it, because she was 27 years old when she had me. So it's like, if you think it's hard, try being my age and having that much longer of the propaganda telling you that this is wrong,
Angie, I'm going to answer your question. I'm glad we're ahead of time schedule because here's another rant coming. If you want to see a rant from us, here's another rant coming. Okay, we have 2 more yet. Don't look.
Okay.
Okay, next one is from Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
If using the egg carton whites instead of 10 whole eggs to make keto chow pudding, how much coconut should I add? Thanks in advance. I don't think it'll work with egg whites. I'm sorry. The egg yolks is what's thickening it up. I don't think you can try. I'm not willing to waste a package of keto chow for it.
Yeah.
I'm 99% positive that you cannot make that egg pudding with only egg whites.
And I don't think you want to.
I will say that if you try and let us know, or reach out to Maria Emmerich, who created the original egg pudding.
Sure.
Okay. But here's the thing. Egg whites, sorry, are garbage. Like, if you're going to throw a part of the egg out, throw out the egg white.
Right.
Don't throw out the egg yolk. You need the yolk. There is zero nutrition in an egg white other than some extra protein.
Yeah.
There is no nutrition in there other than protein. There's no vitamins. There's no nutrients. You need the egg yolk. An egg yolk is 1 gram of fat to 1 gram of protein. An egg white is just adding a little extra protein. There's more than enough protein in the egg yolk. You need to throw out if you're going to throw out a portion of the egg, throw out the egg white, not the yolk. I love the egg white, but let's be honest, there's no nutrition in an egg white.
Right.
You need that egg fat. You need the yolk, you need the fat, you need the vitamins. All of that is in the egg yolk. Last one from Mary.
Hey, Mary.
I love your reviews. At least I know you're always going to give an honest opinion.
Thanks,
we
Mary.
do try.
We do try. We don't always agree in our opinion, and I also understand that taste is subjective a lot of times.
Yep.
So some people will be like, I can't believe that you thought this because I really didn't like the thing, or I really did like the thing and you didn't, so I totally understand. But thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Angie said eggs are too much money to throw away any of it. So
okay, what was the rant?
Wait, I'll tell you in a minute. I got to answer this one first.
I'm afraid.
Plus, it's from Angie anyway.
Love you, Angie.
So, you want to see somebody cry? So, I'm making my egg pudding last night, and I was tired. It was a long day. I was doing a bunch of things. I'm going to Texas on Friday, and I'm trying to get all this done. And we're trying to clean the RV so we can sell the old RV. And it's like the list of things on my mind of have to be done over the next 5 days is ridiculous, right? So I'm like, I'm going to make some egg pudding. Rachel's inside already. I had just pulled comments for today. I'm going to make some egg pudding, scramble up some eggs. It takes as fast as I can scramble up the eggs, right? So what I do is I take all of the eggs and I put them in a Vitamix to blend them up before cooking, because then I don't have to whisk the eggs because I'm lazy. So I throw them in the Vitamix.
Efficient.
And I whisk them, I blend them up, and then I would pour them into the pan, and then I don't even clean out the Vitamix. What's left in there, the drippings, becomes part of the egg pudding. So I do that. I'm getting my pan warm up. I go grab a can of coconut milk out of the canister, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to be really efficient. And while I'm cooking the eggs, I'm going to put the coconut milk and the Keto Chow and everything into the Vitamix. Guess what I didn't take out of the Vitamix?
What?
The eggs that needed to be cooked.
Oh.
So I had to throw out an entire dozen eggs.
Oh my gosh.
And I guess I could have cooked them and a can of coconut milk because it was all mixed together. I probably could have cooked it. I probably should have cooked it, but I couldn't have used it for the egg pudding.
Well, and in the moment when you're already tired.
I was so mad. At least I didn't put my Keto Chow in there.
It's good to stop for a second when you're in the middle of an emotion and be like, whoa, what is salvageable about this moment? Because I tend to be the same way, Joe. So it's like, I'm like, well, screw this. Like you said, you could have used
I could have made a dozen scrambled eggs with coconut milk.
Right.
Because we'll add heavy cream to our eggs sometimes. Okay. So we were just talking about our review. So Angie wants to know, what are our thoughts on Built Bars? So years ago, we tried Built Bars. We were an affiliate with Built Bar.
We were.
They changed the formulation somewhere.
They took a U-turn somewhere.
I think originally it was a decent product. Then they ventured out and they have Built Puffs and they added sugar and all that other stuff. I do not recommend Built Bars.
I do not recommend mountain climbing.
For many reasons. Number one, I'm not a fan of the ingredients on Built Bars anymore. More importantly,
there's something in it.
There is something in there that makes people go crazy.
At least me.
Well,
makes
I would
Rachel.
say it makes Rachel go crazy.
But we have friends that
I know at least 10 other people who have had the same experience where they could not control themselves with Built Bar.
They literally blacked out.
So sweet, something in there. And it just makes them almost like addictive. I'm not bashing it. If you can control, I can control myself with them.
Yes.
But I think that you have some people who have this sweet tooth type of personality and it sends them over the edge.
I don't know.
So we had like 6 or 7 boxes and I realized Rachel had an issue with them. So I literally had them up on the top shelf, hidden behind. I
ration
saved all
them.
the boxes from everything I buy, like drones, in case I'm going to sell them, tucked up behind the boxes so she couldn't find it. And I came home to find her scaling the wall.
Literally.
No ladder.
No
Literally
ladder.
climbing up the shelf, which is literally just compressed board MDF shelving.
I could fallen and killed myself easily.
To get to these Built Bars, and she ate an entire box in like an hour. And she is not the only person I've known that
very little recollection of the motivating factor.
Right.
Like, I do not remember, like, why did I go on that? Why did I scale the wall? Like, I would have talked myself out of it, like, or get a ladder at least. But no, something weird took over. And like, I've talked to several people, like friends of mine, because again, I can only speak for myself. I'm not like getting after Built Bar, but I'm just saying, like, I've talked to like friends of mine that were like, yeah, I woke up surrounded by wrappers and don't
again,
really
we're
remember
not
much.
knocking Built Bar. I'm not a fan of it for us. And as
is
we've
my
said
experience.
over and over, we do not recommend
Things we don't use.
or affiliate ourselves with products we don't use. Some people are completely fine with it. My only real issue with Built Bar was that they came out with these other products like Built Puffs and stuff like that.
And then it confuses people.
And again, you can have other products in your line that are not keto friendly,
Right.
But label it so.
I didn't feel like they labeled it.
The puffs, the Built Puffs are not very keto friendly.
No.
They have actual sugar in them. So now you've got a confusion. It's like, I will be very clear. I love pork and good. Stay away from the birthday cake, cinnamon shit, ones that
Because it's
have
got
sugar
sugar.
in them.
Yeah.
But they're not a company, they're not marketing themselves as a keto company.
Right.
And so, you know, that's my thing there. And it's the same thing with Built Puffs. It's like, we need to have a clear delineation because some people don't know. They just see Built. And that's why we tell everybody,
And I guess,
look at the label.
I guess they are not a keto company. They were just trying to be more of like the protein.
Yeah,
you know,
Rachel said I used to love them until they changed the formulation.
it was like a protein bar type of thing. I also noticed, like, once they changed the formulation, they started to do weird stale things. Did we get a little... Trying to make sure we didn't have a little friend that jumps the coop here.
They're too little.
But yeah, like, because they would get really hard, like a weird hard.
Yeah.
That just concerned me. Like, what the heck is in there?
If you want to know a bar, just like a little snack kind of bar.
Yeah.
That I think the best one in the keto space is Genius Gourmet, the ones you can get at Costco. The problem even with Genius Gourmet is they have some that are keto friendly and some not so much.
You gotta read ingredients.
So the two that they sell, they sell a box of 2 different flavors in Costco. And it's, I think, chocolate peanut butter and chocolate decadence are the ones that come in there. And it's like 6 total carbs.
Yeah.
And good ingredients. But then they have ones that are like rice puff and stuff like that. And the ingredients aren't as good. And it's much higher in total carbs. So you have to look at ingredients. Don't just trust the company. Okay? Because they may have other products that are not as keto friendly.
And if you have enjoyed a product for a really long time, again, get in the habit of doing the turn, just like the Legally Blonde, we say, like, the turn and snap, remember she used to do that thing, like it was just a quick action that she did all the time. You come up with the turn the box snap. Like, you are, every time you're shopping, you flip that box over, just get in the habit. Just get in the habit of doing it and reading the ingredients, even if you've used a product for a really long time, because we have seen like different types of protein chips that have changed. We've seen certainly lots of desserts that have changed over the years.
Companies get sold.
Dressings,
they want to save money.
Sauces.
I mean, Lily's, when Lily's chips, when we first started keto, Lily's chips were 2 ingredients.
It was chocolate and stevia. That was it.
Now look at a bag of Lily's chocolate chips. It's not nearly the same product. What happened? Well, they got sold and they're like, how do we make more money? Let's use a bunch of fillers that are much cheaper.
Makes things cheaper. Stretch it.
Let's get into, Joanna said, Joe, ever since you showed us how to tell if an egg is fertilized, I found one of my store eggs to be fertilized. It was delicious. That's kind of interesting.
How cool.
It does, it is possible if you buy pasture-raised eggs in the store, like Vital Farms, to get a fertilized egg.
That is also a great, like, if you do it and you just check it, because, if you're watching, looking at pasture raised eggs and you do like the bullseye test that we talked about, doesn't that make you feel so much better about a company that you're buying eggs for, because it's pasture raised?
Yeah.
Like, that they are like living their best life and probably getting to wander around, interact with roosters. Like they're there, you know what I mean? Like that's proof of it, because animals that have just to stay inside of the cages and never have place to run around, and roosters to do their thing.
Joanna also said, when I did Weight Watchers, I figured out how to manipulate my points to get as much food in the plan as I could. The vegetable soup was free, in my opinion.
I used to drink vats of it.
We actually tried to make Weight Watchers keto. It didn't work.
I tried my best.
We joined it and spent a bunch of money, and it was just to make a video.
I could not get the blue dot.
But here's the thing. The whole point system and 0 points, that's another scam.
It's not a scam. It is a calculated effort to use an addict's behavior against them. If my nature is to try to cheat myself, sabotage myself, then I play right into the hand of somebody that's using a net carb protocol, telling me that certain foods don't count. Like I just know myself. Even when we talk about GLP-1s, I know that I need to have a doctor's eyes on my behavior. Otherwise, what would stop me from having a protocol of, well, if I buy
25 different prescriptions?
25 different prescriptions. I am an addict. I have lied before when it came to what I bought at a drive-thru. I would buy an entire second family meal and eat it myself before I got home to bring to you guys the family meal and then eat that family meal. So it's like I know that I can express addict behavior to get what I want. So I will. Why wouldn't I lie to myself?
When I say the points thing with Weight Watchers is a scam, it's not a knock on Weight Watchers. It works. It's a scam for us. Okay, so for example, depending on the plan you're on, and I haven't looked at it in about a year or so, but depending on the plan you're on, it'll be like an egg is 0 points, right? But that's if you eat one egg.
One.
And then you will get people, us included, and be like, well, eggs are 0 points. I'll eat 15 eggs. Well, that doesn't work.
Right. It's one a day is a free.
So that's where the problem. The best thing that Weight Watchers ever had, and this was years ago, what Weight Watchers had that many other companies never had was Weight Watchers was about community.
Yeah.
You would meet in a group and talk about your problems and your struggles. And that's what they had right.
Yeah.
Then it became a giant corporation just trying to sell you monthly subscriptions and everything else.
It reminds me of, what was the name of that low impact, doesn't even cover it, workout company, where you would go in and I would barely move, but we were paying for it because it was like my gym. I can't remember what it was. You guys somebody knows. It was like a circuit type of thing. But what was good about it was the fact that you did come into community. Everybody was working out together, and then you'd go to the next station. And that was helpful because you started to make friends, and the community aspect of it was good. They just needed to kind of we needed something that was for someone just getting started. I needed something that was less than CrossFit, but more than this.
Yeah. Kathy said the strawberries are delicious. Let's see.
Curves. Yes, Angie. Curves. That was it.
I had the ones on the bottle, but they had aspartame, which I try to avoid. This actually is sucralose, not aspartame. Shannon, can you share a little more information on your coaching?
Sure.
What the first session includes, what the price is thereafter. So it's kind of customized. So we basically have a session right now. You call up. We spend. It's supposed to be a half hour. Usually it's longer. I'm not gonna lie. Getting to know you, what's going on, a little bit of coaching, and then probably to our detriment, we'll tell you whether or not
you need us.
You need coaching or to just do this or whatever. And from there, we customize it.
Right.
Depends on. We used to have a thing where you buy this many things, but Some people don't need every week. Some people need a couple times a week. So it really becomes a custom thing, and we can set up a schedule or a plan with you.
Yeah.
Depending on what your list. Some people don't want a video call every week. They want to do maybe a video once a month and just be able to do text check-ins. So we customize it. So again, it's probably to our detriment financially.
We don't lock anybody into like a 6 month.
But we don't want to lock people in and go like, you have to buy 6 months worth of calls or something like that. We're going to go case by case and we'll decide on something together, and we can lower prices and things like that. But the first one is kind of a combination of a discovery call with a little bit of coaching, kind of talking some things out. And stupidly, like, a lot of times we can help fix some things in one call. I mean, and because the bottom line is the whole goal of coaching, when we're doing long-term coaching, is for you to get you to where you don't need me.
Right. Work us out of a job.
If you still need me to coach you on a weekly basis, 6 months or a year later, I'm not doing my job. Because the idea is to make you self-reliant. So we're going to walk you through. I promise you this, and this probably upsets people. If you are expecting to get on a coaching call with us and say, do this, 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 and this, you're going to have the right result. That's not what we do. We can guide you. We can give you suggestions, but we're really going to help you to figure it out, because we want you to get out there.
You're the one that has
and be
to
able
do
to
the
figure
work.
out other things when you come through, where you can go, I'm having this problem. What can I do? Like, how can I make myself accountable? Things like that. And those are the things that we work through. The bend and snap.
The bend and snap, yes. So let that be your bend and snap. Let the bend and snap be turn over the box, read the ingredients every single time. If you get into the habit of every single time doing that thing, it's not fatiguing. It's like when we, and I know it sounds weird for us to say, keto is a lifestyle, not a diet. Why do I want you to really get that in your soul? Because you stop using the mental energy every single morning when you first look in the mirror and decide, am I keto today or am I not keto today? That takes up a lot of mental bandwidth. The decision making is exhausting, and you make a lot of decisions every single day. So when you're like, I don't have to think anymore about if I'm married. Am I a married woman? That has been decided. I am forevermore Joe's wife, right? So I don't have to decide if I want to be married or not. So me deciding, hey, I am forever keto. It's as much as some people are like, well, man, I don't know if I want to make that decision. I don't know if I want to commit for the rest of my life. To me, there's so much freedom in just saying, hey, the proper human diet is the way this human eats. As for me and my house, this is how we're going to eat forever, because I don't have to wake up every morning and expend a lot of mental energy. And if you grocery shop, you have certain traditions. You have certain way of like, I get my cart, I wipe off the handle. Like, you get into a rhythm of shopping. And if you can get into the rhythm of, I turn the box over and I read the ingredients, it just becomes second nature.
Yeah. I did see, Kai said, with having type 2 diabetes, I've learned to read the labels on everything I buy.
So smart.
Yep. Evelyn, I haven't done this in a while, but this is true. So you want birthday keto chow, birthday pork rinds? She takes birthday cake keto chow and she pours it over dry pork rinds.
Yes, that is brilliant. One of the things is, and I'm sure we have down below, like the links for buying the pork pellets that we use. And that way you can make your own. You can make your own pork rinds, and while they're still hot, sprinkle them with whatever you want.
So, I saw, we're going to finish with this one, but Andrew said, question, in making your coconut cream egg pudding recipe, what do you switch out if you're using a different flavor keto chow? Pretty much, for the most part, we just switch out the keto chow.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like not a new recipe for us. We've made banana, lemon, like you name it. For the most part, we only switch out the keto chow. Sometimes we switch out the coconut milk for, like, we would use almond milk or even water. A lot of people will use water. I think it works better with the coconut milk. Oh, Shannon, thanks for the $4.99 super chat. I I think it works better with coconut milk because I think it makes it creamier and thicker. And the other thing is so eggs. Okay, so as we said, eggs, an egg yolk is 1-to-1 fat to protein. Adding in the yolk, adding in the white, you're adding a little bit more protein. Okay, then you're adding in Keto Chow, which a package of it is 25 grams of protein. I try to eat a balance of fat and protein. So by adding in a can of coconut milk, you are adding in, there's 7 servings. So 7 times 9 is 63 extra grams of protein. That to me helps balance out and it's that extra grams of fat.
So I was just about to say, I was like, no, it's 2 grams of protein.
So that to me helps balance out the extra 25 grams of protein that I'm adding in from the Keto Chow, the extra egg whites, and then actually give me more fat. I'd prefer to have more fat than protein. And so, and by the way, doing that, I've seen people talk about that adds carbs. You're 14 total carbs if you use the entire can of coconut milk.
To the entire batch.
To the entire batch.
Right.
To the entire batch, you're adding 14 total carbs.
And that's on what, 2,000
on
calories?
2,000 calories. And then add in your Keto Chow, like you're still, if you're counting the eggs, if you're counting the carbs in eggs, which you don't need to really count the carbs in eggs, but if you're counting the carbs in an egg, because every egg has 1 carb, you're still looking at less than 30 total carbohydrates for the entire batch of pudding.
Right. So that's almost like, that's like keto break
And you're
standards.
not, that's not taking out the fiber from the gum acacia. That's not taking out, there's no fiber in this.
If you're only getting 15 total carbs for every 1,000 calories, that's pretty freaking amazing.
Yes.
To be honest.
Yeah, that's like better than some of the keto bricks.
Yeah.
And again, that's, you're not even taking out the gum acacia.
Speaking of
and
keto
you're
brick.
also, yes, we'll talk about that later. Okay, we're gonna get off. So again, a reminder, on Wednesday, Rachel's live stream for the paid members of Mighty Networks is gonna be at 7 p.m. And then we will be back live on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. We also have another video coming out tomorrow.
I love you guys.
Bye.